Yes.
Do you think the Thunderbirds would get more respect if we shot at them?
Okay.
Dodging bullets.
Hear me out.
Keep going.
Yeah.
But it might be treason. But
Who's shooting?
they're Nerf darts.
I
It's fine.
volunteer.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Welcome to June.
Hey, by the way,
Yes.
your birthday is December 1st.
It is. Yeah.
We are recording on June 1st.
Yes.
We are officially at the halfway mark.
Oh, is that
Should you be having a birthday party right now?
Okay.
No.
July
no.
1st is when my
Or
surrogated my
No,
birthday.
I'm saying the 40 to 40.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
40 before
when
40.
we
Yeah.
started the AI
Yeah.
stuff, my next question, but Jim jumped
Yeah.
onto the documentary, ADD.
Yeah.
Was can AI get Jim motivated to finish his or structure out his 40 by 40?
Since I'm
no.
expecting the end
Go
of
on
the
to
world.
ChatGPT and
Not
get that
for
to do
years
it.
yet.
We are
It's
officially
nowhere near that point.
Yeah.
we are officially halfway through. Is there a single
Yeah.
thing we can cross off this
I
list?
me
thought
get it.
of one the other
Yep.
day that I thought I did, but then I don't remember the whole list.
Oh, I have the list. Let me get my
But
notes.
no, I don't
open.
want to go over
Too
all
late.
40 of them.
We don't.
There
have
was
to.
one the other
gonna
day
go
that
over
I was
one or
like,
two.
oh, I did one, and I was like, I'm gonna tell Nick about it, and then I forgot. But then again, now that I'm thinking about it, the vibe I remember feeling was I could do this, not I did do this.
Hey.
Ridden in a hot air balloon.
No, fuck. Is that really on the list?
Made a
That's
trust and a
dangerous.
will.
Nah,
Oh, yeah, that
shit, I
was the
chickened out of that too.
I feel like
How
you
close-
could do that with AI.
How close are you to doing a pull-up?
Oh no, that's
Have you
not.
attempted?
No.
Have you ridden
I
a
thought
horse?
a lot about
Whatever
it.
the distance between the floor and the pull-up bar is
I'm
how
that
close
close.
Jim is to
I'm
doing
that
a pull-up.
close.
He's about 6.5 feet.
I
away
love
from doing a
that
pull-up.
Whitney has out a full ass 2025 yearly planner. It is. She has to spread her arms as far as they can reach to get this thing
Okay.
fully
Have you done
extended.
any
A moment
LARPing?
ago, rewind your podcast player to a moment ago when Whitney said, "Hold on, I'll get the list."
Yeah, that is the list.
That is the time that it took her to unfold it.
He's working on something. Yeah, look, there's one, two. There's two
She
boxes.
can't hold it and talk into the
Two
microphone.
boxes out of January 1st to now.
okay.
So,
Okay. All right.
Jim?
I got time.
Jimothy?
I got lots of time.
Okay, so Peter and I have this ongoing joke from our friend with ADHD that we were talking with, and he was like, "Oh, I'm getting ready for whatever," and he'll just be like, "I got plenty of time." It's never plenty of time.
Yeah.
That's all I hear when Jim says, "I got
Anytime.
plenty of time." I'm like, okay.
My wife was booking a vacation for us today and booked a very long multiple connections flight the day before she has to fly somewhere else for another gig. And I'm like,
Why are you doing
it's
that?
your gig.
Yeah.
But like, if everything goes perfectly, you're going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we're coming back from a vacation, then you're leaving like 10 hours later to fly somewhere else to go on a gig.
This is yours.
Like, best case scenario, that
Wow.
sucks.
Wow.
Worst case scenario, you just miss the gig entirely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's but I'm on team wait to the last minute. I think that's when inspiration strikes. Oh, I just remembered the thing.
fire a
I have
gun.
gotten one thing off the list for sure.
He shot someone.
I did kill that
at
guy.
the airplane.
Turns out that dude is dead.
I did fire a gun at dolphins
Was fire
while
a gun
swimming
on there?
with them. Yes, it was.
Yes.
Fuck. Ah,
Firing a
shit.
gun is on there.
And I had a chance too. I went to that range. Damn it.
What?
You have a
You
chance.
went to a
I
range
did.
and didn't
Yeah,
shoot a
for
gun?
my son's
With your son.
birthday. Yeah. Fuck.
I
It
think
didn't
we talked
even
about that
occur to
then.
me.
You are not very good at this.
No, I really need to walk around with that list. Just set reminders. Well, where the fuck is AI on this? I should
I
be able to
just
just give
said that.
AI the list, and then it should remind me oh, Jim, by the way, you're at a range right now. You can knock one off the list.
We've reminded you.
Yeah.
You've been look, getting reminded has not helped.
You know what? This is only a weekly reminder. I need something more
Have
thorough.
you tried Indian food?
No, and that's culturally insensitive. You really shouldn't say that. I got
Your
my
list.
very
I
first.
believe
Your
it's called.
list.
Oh, there it is. Goodbye, everybody. I got my first
Whitney.
intern. So I officially have my first therapy
Oh,
apprentice.
I think that's on there.
Was that on
legally
there?
assigned to me, the whole rigmarole. So I've got 1 out of 40. So I've got
Okay.
39 more to go.
That's
but
not
I'm
on
pretty
my
excited
list.
about it. Welcome to June, everybody. Hold on. I got to get that. Hello?
Hello, I am Mr. Dr. Jim's apprentice therapist.
Get back in the closet.
Poor thing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dr. Jim.
I told you don't come outside.
I'm so scared.
You stay in there until I tell you can come out.
Mr. Dr. Jim,
This is part of your training. No, you don't eat.
I'm so hungry.
You live on the dew of flowers for 40 days like all of us did in our therapy training.
Yes, but it's been 50 days.
Oh, take on my first apprentice. There it is. All right.
It's on there. It's on there.
It is. I'll give you that.
Anyway, welcome to June. You no
When
longer...
did that start? I got right on the calendar.
This last week. This last week, she got her official therapy
Woohoo!
intern license, so it's exciting stuff. We are officially in June, which means you no longer have to be aware of mental health. You can just be done with that shit. That was May. Whew.
I am
Done
exhausted.
with that. It also means that we have named a pony. The votes have been
Shit.
cast.
Oh, boy.
now
The
that-
results are in.
Now that we're done with Feed the Pony,
Yeah.
is she just going to stop feeding the pony?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was part of the
that was
agreement.
it.
Is
Yeah,
right.
the ponies are gonna die.
Yeah.
So
That's why it doesn't matter what we name
it didn't matter when we named these ponies.
They're not going to last long.
Yeah. So I'm going to read all of the nominees
My
in
jokes are
order
getting
from
dark today.
last
I know.
to first.
I'm in a mood.
Just keep drinking that whiskey; it'll get better.
Yep.
Last place was Blue Glue Chew. A solid last place finish right there.
Do we know how many
Really?
votes?
That one got 1% of the vote.
Okay.
Epstein didn't kill himself. Placed higher than that one.
Epstein didn't kill himself. Did not officially get a nomination.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
had been in the pool of suggestions, but was not represented. You needed a delegate.
Okay.
The super delegates did not get that one through. In second to last place with 5% of the vote, Freddie Five Legs. I thought a respectable 5%
I like that.
Wow.
came
I like
in.
that.
Wow.
At 8% of the vote, Heyonce. I thought was cute.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cute.
solid.
Like Beyonce.
Very
Good name.
solid. Tied at 9% was Gluey, which I
Okay.
thought was a good one. And Slurpee's Horse Do Not Touch also
I
came
do
in.
like Slurpee's Horse Do Not Touch.
It was clever. The finalists with 22%, this is second place. The runner-up breaks my heart because I think this was where I was at. But fuck, and I voted for this too. Did not tip the scales, and I lobbied hard
How did
for
you
it.
vote?
Because I have a Patreon account. I fucking voted. Because I wanted this one. I didn't get it. 22% of the vote.
Such a twat.
This is the winner. Or second place, George Bush hates black horses. Fuck, I wanted that.
I do like that one.
That was where my heart was at.
Okay, Silver Lining still available as a baby name.
Yes, Manu, get on it. Okay, just call him George for short, but we'll all know what the full Christian name is.
G-Dub.
And the winner with 44% of the vote, Pony Soprano. A solid.
That's a
Oh
good
my
one.
Soprano is a
God.
good
Pony
name.
Soprano's good.
Solid
That
horse
is so
name.
good. Okay.
Solid horse name.
So
I
now
like
we've
it.
got Tonka Truck.
Tonka Truck the pony and Pony Soprano.
Soprano.
Oh,
yeah,
I love
I
it.
like it. Both the official
Emma
horses
must
of
be
Pod
so
Therapy.
relieved.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel let down.
I mean, there was
I'm
some-
just looking at our listeners like, God damn it. Like, we had a chance here to do. We could have called him George. It would have been fine. He would have gotten away with George. But we all would have known the truth.
Until you take him to the vet.
Yeah, they read
Yeah,
the whole
that's
thing.
it.
Hey, what the fuck
We
is
need
this?
his full
Or
name.
enter into any kind of competition. Yeah.
I'm sure we could have the documentation amended. But thank you to everybody who voted. It was a very well-attended poll. And for the many people who joined us in May and started doing annual membership as well, just to kind of show that support year-round, we really appreciate it. And lots of people fed the horsies, and we posted lots of videos on our Instagram.
Those were fun to watch.
They are lots of fun. And you know what? I'm going to leave it up there for a while. I'll take it down eventually, but Emma's just going to keep feeding the horses, so why not videotape this, right? So, yeah. We've basically just got a horse feeding OnlyFans now. And it's $15, and you
I
get to
love
pick
it.
the treats. It's great.
great.
You get to give a little shout out to the horse. So get up there. Before I take it down, it's still up there for now. Leave it up there for a little while until Emma tells me I have to take it down.
Emma, I want
but
the
yeah.
horse to be fed with like crackers or cookies or whatever horses eat, but I want them decorated by one of those erotic bakery shops.
Oh, yes.
So you're just feeding the horses like big tits and dicks and boobs and asses.
But healthy, whole
Asshole
grain.
cookies.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, they're all very
nutritious meal.
horse snacks.
And the horse isn't going to care. I mean, honestly.
No, if anything, they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, more.
I think the horse is going to care.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Think they'll like it more?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who has been
Freddy's
so
fifth
supportive
leg.
of us and helping us
gonna try to
augment
do
the
other
message
things.
and amplify it. It has been great. So we are stepping into June, which means we're going to be thanking all of our supporters here at the end of the show. But excited to have you with us. We've got a lot of new people that have stepped into the Patreon circle, and grateful to have you as part of the group and enjoying your presence in the Discord and enjoying your live commentary and chat on our weekly episodes and on all the Monday content. So thank you, everybody who's been supporting the show. We've got some great questions for today's episode, and we're leading off the order with a question about being less judgmental. Hello, pod therapists. I've been meaning to write back to y'all for a while, but I just keep procrastinating, so my apologies for taking so long to get this update to you. I figured Mental Health Awareness Month would be a good time, and I still didn't quite meet that deadline.
Close enough.
Yeah, you almost got there. Hopefully this jogs your memory, but I've written in the past, I was the guy who didn't pull over so his dad could buy cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
And then I was struggling with whether I should attend Thanksgiving after the resulting blow-up of emotions with Dad. Thanks so much for getting your answer back to me so quickly. I really appreciated all your insight. I did end up going to the gathering, and all went well, and we are fortunately all on good terms to this day.
Okay.
Great stuff.
So you didn't take our advice.
Yeah, I think that wasn't our advice.
I think
Glad it
part
worked
of the
out.
advice was go to the gathering, but make sure to bring cigarettes.
I think that was it.
So maybe they brought cigarettes.
Yeah. That was unfiltered. However, there's a bit more to the story. Part of the reason I didn't want to go back then was because a certain other family member would be there that I really don't enjoy being around. So I had to come to grips with that as well. Not only was I going down a path of forgiveness for my father, but also I was trying to figure out how to be around this other person. This is something that I've struggled with pretty much my whole life. It's not to the point where I'm a complete asshole, at least not outwardly, but sometimes I tend to be unkind if a person gets on my nerves. Even when going about my day, I'll make snap judgments about a random person based solely on their appearance or end up thinking negative thoughts about them, even though I really don't know anything about them. As I was trying to learn to be less judgmental back in November, something I read online was that those who are judging others tend to be the most critical of themselves. So I did look inward and tried to be more conscious of accepting myself. I think this has helped quite a bit and certainly gave me the courage to go to Thanksgiving back then. I'm also a lot more confident, so yay. Yet I still find myself slipping into judgments and sometimes being blunt with people when I could be a bit more kind. So my question today is, which I suppose is twofold, do you guys struggle with this as well, making snap judgments? And if you do, how do you deal with it? If you don't, well, good for you, I guess. Nice. And secondly, if the judgment is unwarranted, like if you know that person is just awful, but you have to be around them anyways due to whatever circumstance, how do you navigate that situation? I guess to put it simply, I'd like to stop making snap judgments about others and be more kind and compassionate. So, how do you go about doing that? What are your tips and tricks? Also, I did finally take advantage of my EAP at work and have asked a therapist about this on a more personal level. But of course, I'd still like to get your thoughts as well. Thanks for all you do. You are doing very meaningful work, and I look forward to listening each week. Sincerely, a reservoir of pillows. P.S. I just watched Good Will Hunting for the first time.
Don't clap for that.
I'm clapping for the writer.
Oh, okay, good.
Masterful. I just watched Good Will Hunting for the first time. While I was watching, I couldn't help but wonder what the hosts of Pod Therapy think of Robin Williams' portrayal in that movie. I've enjoyed hearing your opinions on therapists in the media in the past, so I thought I'd ask and see if you care to share your thoughts on that one. Anyway, take care. A reservoir of pillows.
Which question do we want to tackle?
What about Bob?
That's such a good movie.
I hate that movie. I heard of it. Gives me PTSD.
Yeah. So, okay, judgmental. Yes. But I've
Judgmental, yes, is the answer.
Check.
Got it.
No
Especially while driving. Like that's the thing where
That's my first.
yeah, because I'm very tolerant of people. When we worked at the rehab, I was very well respected from our patients who noticed that I just had I was very totolerant. And so many of them would get upset and angry with each other.
You are very
in
even-handed,
And they would just how do you deal with this?
Yeah, because you'd
I'm
stay
losing
calm.
my fucking shit.
Yeah,
and
Because I don't care about
calm.
any of you. I don't give two shits about anyone in
But
this
oh
room.
my God, if you turn into a different lane and you don't use your turn signal,
Cut
fuck
through.
you.
What if you cut through a gas station parking
piece
lot?
of shit.
What if you cut through a
That's
gas
too good
station
for you.
parking
Oh
lot?
yeah, that. Oh fuck
Any
that
traffic
too.
infractions,
Fuck
you're lucky
that.
Nick doesn't have a gun.
Yeah. I don't know
Because
what
he
it
would
is.
cross that shit off his
Oh my
40
gosh.
list today.
Yeah.
Nick, I thought about you last week when I was at a grocery store and I watched this lady when I
this.
parked. She put her cart, so she was 2 spots over to my right, and the cart rack was 2 spots over to my left, and
Yep.
she just puts her cart right against,
Yep.
near the tree. I was like,
That's
it's
it.
right
That's
there.
it. Oh.
It's right there. There's
Yeah.
one spot
It's
of
the
between.
ultimate
You can
litmus
just do
test.
it.
Okay, so here's what I learned. Excuse me. It's kind of funny because we were just every weekend, Laura and I will go and get coffee someplace. That's kind of our
Adorable.
weekend thing.
Okay.
Right. So we drove out. We went further outside the neighborhood this time. Went down to the southwest. Found this new coffee place.
Okay.
Went down there and had coffee. It was small.
A lot of green and white.
Loved it.
And the signage.
yeah.
There's a mermaid.
Big old door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had some nautical theme. to it,
Yeah.
but there was two couples in there, and they knew each other. They met there to
Okay.
spend some time together, and they each had a baby, a child. And I'm not good with kids, so I'm going to say somewhere between the ages of
It's gonna be
1 and 18.
18. Yeah. So
I was like, this is gonna be fun.
I don't know what age they
1
can
to 5,
stand up.
yeah.
If that's
Okay.
15 or
Okay.
what.
Yeah.
Right. But
Pre-standing. You're
yeah,
saying.
no, they could stand.
Okay,
They
toddler.
could stand.
Okay.
They could walk around.
But still seem like a baby.
They could form simple sentences.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Late
So
toddler.
3 or
whatever
4.
that is, late
Okay.
toddlerish.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, the parents were talking, doing their thing. Kids are running around.
Oh, that.
And they must, this is a regular thing because they know the owner of the cafe. They know everybody that works there.
Okay.
And the kids know the cafe. So it's their little, we were definitely in their house.
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
type thing. But they had full reign
Okay.
of the situation. Okay. And I was just kind of watching more or less, but I could tell Laura was starting to get a little frustrated and
Yeah.
a little anxious
All right.
around the chaos
Yeah.
that was ensuing. So anyway, when we left, we kind of started talking about it, and I was just I kind of realized the thing that's really fascinating to me from a psychological perspective is to just kind of watch the child, which you have to be careful with in public.
Yeah.
As a man.
Because
Yeah.
saying
You're sitting there videoing with your phone the whole time.
Well,
yeah.
being hey, no, I'm a psychologist. I'm interested.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work,
No
yeah.
one buys that. Okay.
It doesn't help that Nick has a tendency to drool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that was really interesting is to kind of watch
Got a
because
Nikon 5000 snapping shots.
the kids can't verbally express themselves. They can't.
The kid's learning. You see him
They
learning.
can't.
They can't tell
They
anyone.
can't talk. But one kid dropped their toy, and it was a little plastic space shuttle.
Okay.
Okay, dropped it on the ground, concrete floor.
Okay.
And then the other kid saw that and had his stuffed animal, and then dropped it, intentionally dropped it.
Okay.
And so you don't know what, you can just watch and you can see what they're thinking.
Yeah.
He's exploring the world.
So for you, this is monkeys at a zoo.
Yes.
You're just looking through the glass.
100%.
Oh, wow, look at them go.
100%. Yeah, because it's
While
just
drooling.
because I can see I can see what's going on in his head. 'Cause
Right.
He's
Yeah, I can't.
he dropped. Shut up. He dropped the
split it
toy,
in half, I could
and
see
it
it even
made
better.
it made this sound.
Yes.
I drop my toy, and it makes a
Splash.
different sound. Right?
I'm on your side, buddy. I'm trying. I'm keeping you above water. I want you to know I'm swimming with you.
I'm making some good points that
I'm
are
with
completely
you.
getting lost here.
Fuck these
agree.
animals,
These points are
okay?
fantastic.
They are fucking animals. I am with you.
No, this is super stuff. This is super smart stuff. I
Swimming
love
up
it.
the river.
Yeah.
We're swimming up
I
the
can tell
river.
you love it. I can tell you love it.
No,
Yeah.
this is really spot on.
No, yeah.
You can round around to your
100%.
point, though.
Anyway.
You like the behavioral psychology
Anyway,
of
yeah, so
seeing
like
these humans.
just like so you get to like you instead of yelling at the kid like, hey, you dropped your toy, or hey, you did this, it's kind of like, no, like they're learning, they're experimenting, they're learning about their environment, and like, oh, when he drops his toy, it makes this sound, but when I drop mine, it makes this sound. It's different, you know. And then then that kind of got me thinking about like, you know, how I was raised. And like I think I've talked about this in the show, but like the worst thing that you could be as a child is in the way.
Yeah. Dropping a toy in the store.
So like, you know, it's just like Nick, you're in the way. You're in the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
And you're constantly told you're in the way. You need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Move. You know, and after you get raised into that environment so much and you kind of grow up, then now even as adult, like I'm so worried about being in someone's way.
Right. Yeah.
That now I go out of my way.
Right.
I inconvenience myself
Yeah.
to make sure I'm not in somebody else's way. And then that causes me a whole bunch of anxiety.
I see.
Because like I know how to go through TSA quickly.
Efficiently. Yeah.
to
My belt
not-
was off
yeah,
in the car.
To not be in someone's
Ready to go.
way.
Right.
So when other people don't do that, I don't think like, oh, well, I'm super prepared. I
Yeah.
think, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Why are you so stupid that you don't
Yeah.
understand how this works? Like, this is
Yeah.
not your first time on a fucking airplane.
Right.
And so it becomes like there is this judgmental thing that kind of comes into place because of kind of how we were raised
I like
and our
that.
expectation that everyone else should fit in that same kind of way of thinking.
Have you had to confront that throughout life? Because clearly you've connected the dots. Like
Yes.
you've
Oh,
done
yeah.
some internal
Yeah.
work and you've looked at it and said, hey, my reaction to people is maybe wrong sized.
Yeah.
And I think it has more to do with how uncomfortable I am if the roles were reversed. And then I'm kind of putting that energy onto them of like, hey, this is careless of you and you should be bothered. You should feel shame about what you're doing because I would feel terrible. And
would
you're
feel
doing
so
this to
bad.
the rest of us.
I would feel so much shame. That's what I would feel.
That's what Jacob would feel. So you've done some work on this. How do you like when you get that itch whenever you see something that kind of like cries out in that way and you're like, fuck, like I hate this. Do you catch yourself now and like
Yes,
wind it back a few?
But the non-judgmental thing is a lot harder to do.
Okay.
Like I've had a lot more success working on myself and realizing like, okay, no, I don't have anything that I need to apologize for. This is a public space. I have as much right to be here as anybody else.
Okay.
I have a right to
that
stare at your
is-
child.
Yeah.
In public, sir.
Does that
I said good day.
Don't worry about where my hands are.
Jesus Christ.
No, but like it, like I
said
I've
it.
made.
I know he's getting in the
I
mid
made-
with you. You're the bad influence, okay?
Yeah, I
He
was
was
We
an
all-
Eagle
we all
Scout
knew
before
that.
I brought
We
him
all
around
knew
your
that.
ass.
Yeah, we were fine. We were fine on this show before you came on.
We had a clean program
I haven't said anything dirty.
that nobody listened to.
I'm just being Nick's internal monologue. That's all. I think
No,
I'm
so
good at it.
I've definitely made a lot more progress in that sense. Like I catch myself being judgmental.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to just be like, okay, I don't know their story. I don't know what's going on. And I just got to focus back on my shit.
Yeah, I like that. The self-reference. It's interesting because I think a lot of people are always wondering if we as therapists are thinking judgmental thoughts. But I think the training kicks in. And like even people that you might be annoyed with in the real world, if you were just sitting next to them on a plane, when they're in the chair across from you and you're here to help them, you're so curious, right?
Yeah.
And like you're analyzing so much and you're trying to like really develop that empathy and that connection. I'm sure we all have had cases that are, irritating or something about this person and some of the behaviors they've done that we all have breaking points.
Right.
Like, I can't work with adults who have harmed children. Like it's out of my scope. I'm not going to be good at it. It'll mess with me. Not going to work. So like, we all have breaking points that we just realize, hey, that's not a demographic I would do well with. But like, I think for the most part, people that enter the profession, they do that internal work. Like you definitely have to catch your blind spots. Do you find that even if that group of people, that kind of behavior annoys you in the real world, when you're in the professional work, do you find that you're actually a little bit more resilient because you're just using a different part of your brain?
Yeah. I mean, well, and also I'm less impacted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like if I'm doing,
well, that's the fiber pill.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing clinical work, which I haven't done in years, but when I was like, okay, well, I'm helping somebody, and then when this session's over, it's done.
Right. Yeah.
Like I get to exit out of this.
Right.
As opposed to if I'm trying to get through TSA,
right,
I'm not exiting out of this. Like I'm fucking stuck here because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So
I'm
then
gonna
it's
miss
a
my
lot
flight
harder.
because you're bad at shooting. Yeah.
Tell me why this is wrong. I see no problem with being judgmental.
Okay.
Just like you don't stop.
Yeah.
We're always judging. Like we're always drawing conclusions. So what's the problem?
To me,
I mean, you don't want to like draw a conclusion and then lock it down.
To me, the thing that I think the line is, I don't think there's anything wrong with being judgmental or reaching conclusions about other people. I think when you're starting to carry it around, like that's becoming like you're gritting your teeth, you know, like that's where I think it starts to get like,
or you're not attending family
the writer
functions.
says like, I've said shit, like I've had outbursts. I'm embarrassed. I feel like I could have done better.
But I think that's more of an issue with a reaction.
Yes.
And kind of like and I mean, that's your own action there.
Right.
And like, let's work on controlling that and let's work on and helping with that. But like just the judgmental portion itself, like
sure.
So what?
Probably
like,
benign.
So I got opinions on people. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Like whatever.
Everybody hears somebody say something in politics that they don't like, or somebody at the kitchen table says, and maybe you're internally bothered by that. You found it ignorant. You're offended.
Yep.
But you didn't flip the table and yell at them or break the relationship, right? And so like I can appreciate that. Yeah, sure. There's nothing wrong with your stance.
Like I'm taking notes.
Yeah, have your thoughts.
I got it.
Right.
But like.
And tell yourself, like, boy, do I find that bad. I don't love this opinion of Uncle Frank at all. But treating Uncle Frank a certain kind of way is the part where we got to build that muscle. And I kind of think that's what the writer's sort of referring to is like, I get in my head about this, and then I have this snap reaction where, like, I don't like how I'm treating people.
Right.
And I need to figure out how to, like, cut that fuse. And I kind of hear you, Nick, kind of reflecting on it and saying one thing that you did for yourself is to really ask questions about why this is bothering me. And go deeper when you notice the theme of like, what irritates me? Because I'm celebrated in other circles of being the guy who's unshakable, but then some things really do.
Yeah, and doesn't always work because like sometimes, you know, like I think it was Carl Jung that said like anything that irritates us about other people brings us to a greater or better realization of ourselves.
Neil Young said
better.
That, but you're close.
Right. Yeah.
Harvest.
Yeah. Well, they both sang. But I sometimes that's helpful. Other times it just reinforces the thought.
It's like, this does bother me.
Yeah, no, and I'm right too. You know, like it doesn't always work out.
Whitney,
well.
who do you secretly judge? Who's like your trigger out there in the world?
Clearly the three of us.
I mean, your tolerances are pretty impressive.
You don't want to
actually.
know my answer.
People with red fucking shirts.
No, I don't feel like sharing that specifically, but
we got her. We found Whitney's breaking point, boys. Pedophile jokes on the table. Ask her what annoys her and other people. Full stop. Pulls the e-brake.
But what I do think, I don't know, I think I'm going to share my thoughts on kind of what you're sharing, Nick, because I think I see it a different way, but tell me if I'm wrong. I see it as like the things that I feel judgmental towards others about is usually because I am judgmental on myself about, but when I investigate that internally, I don't know, I think it softens it because then I realize it is about me, and then I'm like, they're just living their lives.
Right.
Who fucking cares if they're slow or incompetent or whatever, like whatever the thing is. I don't know. I guess it does take the focus off. So I don't know, when you shared it then like, well, yeah, I'm fucking right. It's like, I don't really end up at that conclusion. I end up more at like, why am I judging myself on this thing that is irritating me about others? I don't know. That's kind of like,
kind of get it. Yeah. I mean, like,
like meh.
I think it kind of, again, I guess when it kind of comes back to like the TSA thing.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
it's
why do you care if you're slow? What if you take forever? Who
Right.
fucking cares? Why? If you're not the most efficient, are you going to be late for your flight? Or like, if none of that happens, then who cares?
In what sense? Like, are you talking about me saying that from my perspective? if
yeah,
I'm
for
late,
yourself. Like if you are in the way, if you are blocking other people by like not being like ready.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've made it a point to never be in the way of other people. Like that's the thing. And so
you're
like,
offended by somebody being in your way almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm thinking like, why don't you get this?
Yeah.
Like I would work to be out of your way.
Right.
Why aren't you paying me that same courtesy?
I get it.
And so it kind of it kind of makes me feel like if we all were prepared for this, like I'm prepared for this,
Right.
we'd be in and out. Like this is a snap. It literally, if there's when I get to the airport, because I do take a lot of early flights, you know, where I'm getting there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. When I get there and there's no one there, I literally set my bag on the belt, walk right through, grab my bag. It's that fast.
Yeah.
Because everything that I couldn't take through the metal detector is already in the bag.
You're ready. Yeah.
You know, and so it's like it's that quick.
Yeah.
And so like I just don't understand
why they can't be
why
ready.
people are like they set their bag in there and then they try to walk through and it's like it's going off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got my keys in my pocket. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that off. I'm gonna go through it again. Oh well, my cell phone too. I gotta take that off too. Okay, I gotta get.
Yeah.
It's like okay, this is TSA pre-check, motherfucker.
Look it up.
Like you fucking know this.
They don't
shit.
hide
this
the rules.
is not.
In fact, they would love you to look them
and
up.
so like yes, I get that like the preparedness and not being in someone's way is my own neuroses.
Yeah.
Like I totally get that.
Right.
But then it's hard for me to still be like, okay, but there's still no excuse for this other behavior.
Yeah.
Like I'm 50% responsible for this.
I hear you.
Wait, so you're saying there's no excuse for them having that behavior? Okay, so when the writer asks about tips and tricks, that kind of leads into my tip or trick. My go-to is always I will create a story for that person.
Oh, okay.
Every time.
Yeah, you'll write like a story
They've
of
never
like
flown before.
Yeah, they're from Europe. They don't know how
Y'all,
laws
I have had
work.
2 experiences in the last at least year or 2 where someone next to me did not know how to buckle their seatbelt on a plane.
Yeah, that just happened.
And I was like, what?
Yes.
I did
that just happened
twice. I had to help them. They're like, oh, thank you.
The
I was
last
like,
time coming from Reno,
They
that
just
just
want
happened.
to touch them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I think people are just faking this next to you, Whitney. They're like, "Oh my god, can you put your hands on my lap? I just can't seem to get it.
I can't figure out the zipper.
Yeah, it's my pants are unbuttoned. How do these work? And,
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
That old
Excuse
Indian
me.
lady was
You seem
definitely
nice.
trying to get me to touch her.
Could you just
Yeah,
help
she
me?
was. Little horn dog.
But I will always, someone cuts me off in traffic. Yes, there's an initial judgment. There's always an initial judgment.
Are you
There's
a horn
right or
honker?
not. No, not really. Maybe if it's something very dangerous that could have harmed someone,
Okay.
I'm like, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable, but that's because you need to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
If you're going to
Slow
put my
down,
life
you're gonna
or
kill somebody,
yeah, you
yeah.
like cut across.
If
whatever.
they cut me off, my rule is I will honk at them until they are out of my way.
Yeah, he leans on the horn.
Continually.
He just holds it.
I'm going to cut Jacob off just for funsies next
Yeah.
This is my
I will
what's the-
sit on the horn until you
exposure
get out of my
therapy
way.
for Whitney.
Only guy who's ever had horn replacements due to wear. Yeah.
You're
no,
like, this is the horn of a 60-year-old.
yeah, anything like that,
It's
or
just
like
a cough at this point.
Please get out of the way. Please.
so. Yeah, I create a story. Somebody's like flying past me.
Oh, hold on, Whitney. I got to get the
Okay.
door. Hello?
Yes, I'm Mr. Dr.
No,
G.
no,
I'm
you
back.
get your ass back in there. I told you. No. Boom, back in there. Slam the door. Whitney, I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed.
Gosh, she's rude.
I'm humiliated. She'll learn her place. She will
needs to.
learn her
Are you
place.
gonna teach her?
That's what
It's
I'm doing.
only been a few days.
That's what I'm doing. Kick her back in the Harry Potter closet where she
Speaking of
belongs.
being in the way,
Yeah. Stay in there, damn it. You're offending Nick. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm humiliated. I'm horrified, and we will work on this.
Have a little decorum.
We're gonna
please.
get better. Okay, we're gonna get better.
So yeah, if I don't know them, if I'm at TSA or whatever in the airport, my first thought is I make up a story. Okay, they don't know. Then my next thought is, why is this bothering me? If it's because they should have been efficient and they're not, and I was the most efficient.
Yeah.
My next thought is, who cares? Like, am I still going to make my flight on time?
Right.
Then I'll just sit here. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Like that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
overflow of acceptance. Like, all right, this
Yeah.
person's just going to take a while.
I kind of
like
make
that.
up stories a little bit, like especially.
But Nick's are like,
Especially-
that
Nick's
person
are-
hates me.
He's like,
especially-
how their life will end in
This is
5
a hate
minutes.
crime.
if a Dodge Ram pickup
Yep, there it is.
like scoots up way behind, you know, like
Yeah.
real close, and
Yeah.
then weaves around and
Yeah.
cuts in front,
Truck
like
nuts dangling off.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
my mind, And even I've even said this out loud. I say like, he's just in a hurry to get home and kiss his dad on the lips.
Yes. I like that one.
That's your way to dismiss it.
Story.
Yeah, I got him.
Good story. Daddy. He's gonna call him Daddy because he's from the Midwest.
I like like that last trick that you mentioned, Whitney. I think that's my go-to, and one of the reasons I don't carry around the things that are irritating me or the judgments I'm having of others is like the same feeling I have about advertising. I fucking hate ads. I hate it.
I do.
And like what is my? I'm watching.
Like it's forced on you, and you're like, I didn't consent to this.
Well, especially yes, and like on Hulu and shit, where I pay for it, but I'm still having to see fucking ads.
That's frustrating.
Yes.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
And like the same shit on Amazon Prime. Like you know, it's, okay, you get that channel or whatever, but now there's ads, and it's like fuck you guys.
Or buy
It seems like a good time to mention patreon.com/therapy. Get ad-free versions of this show.
We hate ads.
Yeah.
So like when I see ads coming, out of principle, I have this need I will climb across the couch, get the controller, and mute this fucker.
Laura does that too.
I will make myself inconvenienced to go get the controller, and I will not look at the TV. Like out of principle, if I'm watching a YouTube video on my phone,
Nick's like,
and then an ad
like,
pops up, I'll put my phone down. And like if it's unskippable, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I'm not even gonna hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna end that video.
Same thing happens when Laura and I are watching TV and an ad comes on. Because like for me, it's just like, oh, it's an advertisement.
Yeah,
and it just comes on, and I just listen to it.
You're like, I grew up with commercials.
Laura,
don't care.
Yeah,
right?
Laura will sit there and she'll just get,
I'm with
she'll
her.
get
I'm
angry
just
and
chewing on my
and
tongue.
then finally she'll just like, God damn it! And then she reaches across,
Yes.
like will reach over me to grab the remote to hit me.
Yes, if I'm watching, like I've been watching a lot of Adventure Brothers on Adult Swim. There's commercials every goddamn minute, and as soon as it comes on, I mute it, I pull out my phone, and I start scrolling and just checking the news or whatever.
Anything.
Because fuck
Resistance.
you. So like, I don't like ads being thrown at me. And I don't like having to like carry it with me. So like, especially if there's an advertisement that I glimpse and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I won't click it out of spite because I don't want the cookie so that it knows that the ad worked, because then it's going to hit me with more ads.
Yeah.
This circles back around to your theory and like this idea of like coating yourself in Teflon and sort of like, I don't want my irritation with that person that I'm seeing out in the world to stick to me. And I don't, if I react to it, if I engage with it, if there's a family member that offends me and I react as the writer reacts and I say something to them and I give them that little jab, I am gonna get another advertisement.
Yeah.
If they said something weird and they're like, well, let's go Brandon or whatever, and I'm like, all right, if I engage with that, I'm gonna have to hear more of it. The topic's going to go longer. I'm going to get more ads. I want to get back to the show. I just want to get back to this pool party that we're hanging out with and just enjoy my beer. Like, that's what I want to get back to. So for me, even when I feel those spikes of judgment in the scenario that I'm facing or this person that I'm engaging with that I might find distasteful, I don't want to click on the ad because to me, it's clickbait offense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to touch it because then more is going to come.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, it's this furious muting and looking away, and that's my revenge on the thing that's annoying me. Like offering silence and no attention, starving it of every possible reaction feels like vindication to me. And it's like my little ha 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 ha, you didn't get me, you fuck. And like I walk away and I'm like, I'm glad you wasted your money, Amazon. I'm glad you wasted your money on this fucking McDonald's commercial or whatever. Because I'm not going to go to
that takes
McDonald's.
it to a deeper level. I don't go to that point. I'm just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Mine gets pretty deep.
The effectiveness of your technique is about as effectiveness as my driving technique, where I'll flip them off, but below the dash.
Yeah, there you go.
So they
there
don't
you
see
go.
it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're not getting arrested.
Express yourself.
Thoughts on Good Will Hunting? I loved Robin Williams' portrayal.
I thought it was
I haven't
great.
watched
I think it's a
it in
case
years.
study and a great therapist.
Yeah, I
Great
think
stuff.
it's a great because I mean, because he does
Bill
the thing
report.
where what's Matt Damon's character will research all of these therapists in advance, to just
Shake
fuck with
'em up.
them.
Yeah.
But then when he gets to him, because he's really just a Rogerian strengths-based, no real
There's no trick.
theory. There's no trick or anything.
So he
then
just
he's
fucks with him about his dead wife, and then Robin Williams fucking tries to kill him.
Yeah.
But that was authentic.
Yeah.
And that ultimately earned
Natural
Will's like
consequences.
reaction, like kind of
Who
support.
among us hasn't tried to kill a
Come
client?
on. Yeah, exactly. If he's being a douche, he has it coming. But no, I thought, and like ultimately use self-disclosure. Robin Williams meets him in the park and says, I haven't thought about you since because you're just a kid. You don't know what the Sistine Chapel fucking smells like.
Yeah.
and just like walks
I haven't
away.
thought about you since then.
Yeah,
You're just a kid.
every
Way
second.
to ruin it for me, Jim.
Oh shit! Oh, well, that's like
Spoiler
the first act.
alert.
You'll be
Okay.
fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, writer, glad to hear you reconciled with your father. Love your support of our show. Thank you for these questions, and love that you found that EAP therapist. Love that you're doing the work, man. Because each of us has had to do that work. That's how we get over stuff like this, and we find our own, unique tips. So awesome stuff that you're doing there. Thank you for this. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are answering a question about languishing in anger and resentment. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Byler, T. Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, and Myra. And if you would like to sponsor the show, you can become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. All right, we got Father's Day coming up, right?
Ooh,
I guess we do.
Okay.
in June somewhere.
We got
Just
some
about
special.
each other's fathers. Sorry.
Yes.
Jim's
Jim, how many times has
Jim's
Jacob?
Fascia.
We're going to skip that one. Skip that one. So, famous fathers.
Okay.
We're looking for a number. So let's start with Jacob.
Okay.
So we'll just go clockwise.
Big Daddy Kane, final answer.
Okay. One.
good answer.
You need a number. Okay. If you get the number right on the dot, I'll give you 5 points.
Whoa. All
If
right.
you get it within 2,
Oh, okay.
one on either direction, I'll give you 1 point.
Okay.
If you get neither, then it goes to the next one and you guess high or low.
All right.
And I'll give you a
All
point.
right. Some complex
Okay.
trivia.
We're
Okay.
talking how many children each of these individuals have.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
9.
Starting with, you want to just go right there, or you want to hear the
Blind.
name
He's going
first?
in blind.
How many points do I get if I get it for blind?
None.
All the points.
Because I put a lot of work into this.
Fucking up his
Here's-
trivia,
yeah.
dude.
Well, he can still answer. You still read the question.
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, got it.
I thought it was going to be like Genghis Khan.
Let's say right,
Like, shit.
4.
Okay, no, and you are not within the range.
Oh, okay.
It's only up one or up
So-
down one, right?
Yeah.
So you get
Yes.
plus minus 1.
Yep.
Okay, copy.
So high or low?
So we know
Do you think he was high or
3
low?
and 5 is not
If you're not
correct.
within the range, then it's not going to be more or
Well, it could
low
be
or-
more than 4
It could be
or
one,
less
it could be
than
0,
4.
1, or 2,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
or it could be more than that.
Okay. So I have just to guess high or low.
Yep. Do you think the number is higher or lower than Jacob's?
Lower.
No, you're wrong.
Wow. Well, how many
Okay.
kids?
7.
7
All right.
kids.
What the fuck?
7 kids.
That's a lot of kiddos. Is that one for
Okay.
That
every
is-
movie? How many Spielberg
no,
movies?
he's done a lot more than
I
that.
think he's
7,
done
that's
more
a
than 7.
lot.
Shit, he's had like 5 Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Whitney.
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh my gosh! I was just discovering the other day how many kids exist from them, and I don't even know if it's all. It is something like 7. It's
Can you remind me why this person's famous?
Okay. He was what the fuck was his name? He was in Thor. He was the doctor that worked with Natalie Portman.
He was also one of the kids. Sorry,
one of the
was it?
kids
Was
played
it?
played Pennywise,
Pennywise,
the new
sorry.
Pennywise.
Oh, okay. Jacob's
Yeah.
pulling up his face.
It's that
for
guy.
me here.
Yeah,
that
that guy.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Can you?
I
Oh,
think
that
it's-
guy. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's
Seems like
I thought it was
Hans in the
7
movie or something
too.
like that.
6 or 7. 9.
Ooh.
You're within 1. I'll give you a point. It's 8.
Well
Eight,
done.
okay, okay.
Very good. Very
Damn,
good.
dude.
I knew it was a lot. I was like, holy
All right.
fuck, he has a
Jim.
Please don't be Nick Cannon.
I know.
Elon-
I was waiting for Nick
Christ.
Cannon. Oh, this
Wait
is
a minute.
good
That we
one.
know of?
Oh shit.
This does
That we
not
know
count
of.
all the future babies that he's probably got in fucking cryo sleep.
Not AI babies.
Oh, Jesus. It's big.
AI babies, they're making
Dreams come true. Let's go with 12.
No.
All right. Not up or down. Okay.
And not within the range.
They get the
Oh.
range.
So
All right.
that goes to Jacob for a
goes to
point.
I want higher.
That's a point.
Yeah.
14.
Whoa.
14.
Damn,
14?
son.
All I knew
got
for
the Nick
sure is
Cannon
that it was
Arner
double
race.
digits.
Oh,
Yes.
my
Shit.
goodness.
I did not know that.
He
Okay.
is repopulating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's it for this
That was
round.
All right.
fun.
So we are, Whitney's in the lead
Yay.
with Jacob in
2,
second. Yep.
1
And
to 0.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Languishing in anger and resentment. I'll try to keep this as short as possible while still giving enough context and details. A few years ago, I met a new friend through a shared interest. We hit it off quick and fast. I'd never connected with another person so intensely on a platonic level. It was the first time in adulthood that I'd had a legitimate best friend besides my spouse and other family and friends. My friend and I did everything together. We'd hang out multiple times a week, do a shared hobby together, and text all the time. It was deeply intimate, but entirely platonic. An emotionally connected friendship. This person just got me, and I seemed to just get them. As our relationship developed over the course of about 6 to 8 months, they eventually asked me to join them and their life partner in their business. This business is related to the shared hobby and something I'm deeply passionate about. It was a huge risk, but I ended up leaving my stable, well-paying work-from-home corporate job to join them in their business. I knew I was taking a risk, but everyone in my life assured me that it's a good thing to do in my life and that I'd always land back on my feet if anything didn't work out. They made me financial promises, we signed legal documents and everything. A few months later, I'm working for them full-time in their small business, which is a complete 180 from my corporate job. I'm gone from home 12-plus hours a day, ensuring their business runs smoothly. At this time, my best friend suffered a miscarriage after undergoing IVF treatments for 2 years. This sends her into an absolute mental health spiral, justifiably. However, since we were so close personally and professionally at this point, it turned my life upside down. She became a different person. She relied on me solely for her mental, emotional, and physical support for over a year. She became suicidal, and in doing so, also extremely manipulative of me and my time and energy. She wreaked havoc on me. Wreaked havoc on my other personal relationships, my financial stability, and my mental health. Without going into the gory details, I stopped this person from committing suicide on multiple occasions. She would require me to be with her 24/7 to support her, and if I said no, she'd fly into fits of rage and tear me into bits. Keep in mind, I'm also keeping her business afloat at the same time. She constantly said that no one stayed in her life for more than 2 years, and I naively believed I could prove her wrong and show her what a truly amazing friend I could be, unlike those other people that failed her. I truly felt that I alone could fix the broken pieces inside her, that I could fix her. I was so wrong. There are truly so many instances of unhinged things she did to me that I couldn't possibly share them all here. Please know this was an insane situation and something I'd never experienced before. I've never dealt with someone with such complex mental health issues and trauma before. I ended up leaving the business at the beginning of 2024 after issues continued to escalate. They stopped paying me on time, bouncing checks, and making me run in circles for them. I was easily putting 14-plus hours in a day into their business and being told I was never doing enough. My mental and physical health suffered immensely. I started seeking therapy for the situation in May of 2023 and have been going consistently since then. I'm back to my corporate job I had before. Thank the Lord they took me back. In this time of therapy, my therapist has helped me work through so much of the trauma I went through in the situation, and without armchair diagnosing, thinks my ex-best friend might suffer from something like borderline personality disorder.
That is literally where my mind went.
We were all thinking the same
borderline.
thing.
I was like, but I don't want to diagnose.
Therapy was the only thing that opened my eyes to how manipulative and distressing this entire situation was. I'm now just about a year out from having any contact with her, but my anger is always at the forefront. I'm so goddamn angry about everything. The way they fucked me over financially, lied to me, manipulated me with their mental health issues, and used me up completely. I know the stages of grief take different times for everyone, but I have not been able to move past anger for over a year now. If at any given time I think too hard about the situation, I'm thrown headfirst into fits of anger and rage that torment me for days at a time. I've tried working through it in therapy, discussing it with others. Hell, I've even gone so far as writing it all down and burning it in a fire, but nothing helps. I'm angry all the time. It festers and stews, and I just can't seem to let it go. Even though a year later, I'm in a much better place personally, financially, and job-wise. So, how much anger is normal? How do I let the situation that plagued me for 2 years go? How do I let them continue after all the hurt that they caused me? There was closure at the end of the relationship. We both were able to say our piece about everything. But I still can't let the anger go. Help. Signed, Perpetually Mad. Damn. What a story. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's tough. So I'll
Nick,
start
when
with
someone's
this.
going slow at the airport, how do you let go of that anger?
You don't. You use it.
Flip them
You
off
hold
under
on
the
to it.
dashboard.
And you remember that, and you channel it when you're
you
putting.
push it down. You push it way
Shove it
down.
all the way down.
Turn it off.
Let it out on the golf course.
That's right. Swing harder. One day you'll be good enough.
No, I think, I don't know. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me, and I don't know if this is what you're going through, but I imagine as I'm hearing the story, I'm putting myself in your position and I'm trying to imagine how I would feel. And I think the thing that would cause me to just hold on to this resentment is the feeling of not closure necessarily, but validation. Almost kind of like there's no setting it right. But more importantly than that, the other person doesn't know how it fucked me over.
Right.
Like, there is a bit of that. Like, if the person's like, oh, geez, I know I can't set it right, but I know I screwed you over.
Yeah.
Like, just that little bit is like, oh.
It's a concession.
It's just a relief,
Yeah.
you know? And you're like, okay, I can put this down.
Yeah.
And when you don't get that,
Yeah.
and when you constantly, like, it's almost like, what reality are you living in
Right.
that you don't see how you fucked me over here?
Yeah.
You know, like, this was such a bad situation. How do you not see this?
Right.
And the fact that you don't see it kind of prevents me from moving on.
Right.
You know, and so
Yeah.
you just kind of hold on to it forever.
Yeah. They smashed into your
yeah.
car, and every time they see you in the parking lot, like, oh, that's looking really bad.
Yeah, maybe you should be a better driver.
Yeah, gee,
it's
okay,
like,
yeah. How'd
oh,
that
yeah,
happen?
yeah.
You did this.
Yeah.
You did all of this.
Yeah.
Oh, no, couldn't have been.
Yeah. And just that denial with the whole thing, you know, like that keeps me stuck. And it's really difficult to move on beyond that, you know, because it does kind of feel like, you know, that person's never going to, you're never going to get that.
Yeah.
So you kind of at some point have to be able to, and the other thing too is like, it does not affect them at all.
Yeah, right.
You know, like they're not staying up late at night worrying about you.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
they're
Nick
not
might be mad
they're
at
not,
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not upset like, oh, I feel terrible about how I
Yeah.
destroyed this person's
And they're
life.
the victim in their own mind,
Exactly.
right? Like in
Yes.
this case, the writer's saying, like, this person was still telling me it's all my fault. I'm ruining their life. They're everything's mine. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm a bad friend. Everybody else left after 2 years, and I'm just going to follow the pattern. That's pretty rough.
Everyone is always the hero in their own story.
Right. Getting pre-blamed for everything is pretty shitty too.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it is difficult because you're going to have to realize that at the end of the day, there's only one person that this resentment is still affecting.
Right.
And that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like two kind of separate thoughts with this. One thought was when I work with clients, especially it tends to be younger ones in their like early 20s, say they've been in maybe like a somewhat not extreme abusive, but like a mentally, emotionally abusive relationship. And they come out of it, and the number one thing that I hear even 6 months, a year, 2 years after they've left this person is they kind of sit with this idea that how was I like so stupid to fall for this?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm reaching a little bit here, writers. So like take this with a grain of salt, maybe like sit with it or talk to your therapist if this hits. I could be way off, but I wonder if a little bit of that anger, especially I don't know the gender, but of the writer, but if they were male, like I think they tend to express an anger more than anything. And so this idea that I'm pissed off because like I was taken advantage of and it took control out of your hands. And I see that in these kind of mentally, emotionally abusive relationships where it's hard to get closure around like, I let this happen. That feeling of I let this happen, I should be clear. And especially going back to what you shared in the beginning, you're like, I could fix this person. I could fix this idea that they could have a successful friendship. Like you put a lot of weight on your own shoulders to like be this support person for this friend of yours, and they did. They totally fucked you over. They took advantage of your kindness. They probably obviously have their own mental health stuff going on, but they did. They ran you through the mud, and you didn't even tell us all the things. And the things you did tell us were insane to hear.
Yeah,
like already,
can't imagine what we didn't hear.
Exactly. But I wonder if kind of resolving in some ways, if you might have any type of like personal guilt deep down about that. And what I usually go to with clients I work with in that sense is trying to take a sense of control back and say, well, that was 2 years of my life. And they financially hurt me. They emotionally hurt me, probably verbally hurt. Like there's a lot of hurt that happened. And what I really try and reinforce with those clients I work with is, what did we gain from that? What did we learn? How could this empower you moving forward? Like it sounds oversimplified, but really trying to find almost like a silver lining to this. Like, how is this going to help you moving forward? Because that's the only thing we are in control of. Like Nick was saying, like, who does this affect you? You can't control how they're affected. Like, they're living their own lives, just like Jim said. Like, they aren't thinking twice about you and they're going to sleep at night. You're the one who's affected by this. So it's almost like that CBT, like trying to find a way to gain that sense of control back for yourself. So that was one angle I thought of.
And it kind of reminds me, just a little plug for another podcast. I know we hate doing this.
We don't do that.
I know, but we got to do it this time.
There are other podcasts.
There are. There's one other one.
Nick doesn't know how to listen to them.
Yeah.
We're legally obligated to recognize Jacobs at the end of the
Yeah,
script.
and here's
that's
the
the
thing.
only other one.
Here's the
that was
thing. That one's not the one I'm referencing.
Oh, damn.
No.
It's not what we talked about.
World's Greatest Con.
Oh, great.
All right,
show.
we had Brian Brushwood.
Love Brian Brushwood.
We had Brian Brushwood on the show. World's Greatest Con. I remember like the very first season of that and the very first episode, he kind of goes into a little bit about like how con artists work, and just and the guilt that people feel when they get conned.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just in hindsight you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, like that was so stupid. Like I met this guy in a Walmart parking lot. Why did I think?
Yeah, he needed gas
like
money.
In hindsight, it's but in the moment it
You're
does
just being
make sense.
kind. You're like, oh, they needed help.
And it's like, but it's like that's the con. That's what they're doing. And if they weren't, like, they're good at it. That's why it happens.
Good at it.
The con is not taking your money.
Yes.
That's the result of the con.
Yeah, the con.
The con is they have gained your trust.
The emotional
Confidence.
manipulation.
Right.
Right.
That's what con. That's the con.
But I mean, you think about your life, like you don't really like fully trust all that many people just throughout your day-to-day life.
Right.
So giving someone your trust and to find out that you've been duped is a weird thing to happen.
It is.
Yeah.
And I guess the point that I'm kind of getting at with this is like
duped. Like there's purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
What I'm getting at with this is just the idea and the understanding that like, well, this works because they're good at what they do.
Right.
And so to feel, and I agree, Whitney, I didn't think of that until you mentioned it, but now hearing you say that, like I could definitely relate to a lot of that. I would
more
feel
anger, like internally.
Yeah,
almost.
internally.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I think the way that you combat that is, the understanding of like, I'm not going to be upset with myself because, like I played one-on-one against LeBron James and I let him beat me at basketball.
Right.
He's supposed to beat me at basketball.
Right,
like it's not even
because you have the
supposed
wrong
to be a
fucking attitude,
competition.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play
and
by the rules. You got a Nancy Kerrigan, that motherfucker.
So it's like you kind of you went into business with a professional here,
Right.
and like this person knew what
They
they were
pulled out
doing.
all those stops. Oh, they knew.
Yes, and this was a game you were going to lose.
Yeah.
And so I think give yourself a little bit of leeway on that.
I think
And give
a little
yourself
bit of
permission
grace.
to acknowledge that it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
All
It
sucky.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And like I am sorry that it sucks.
I hate
and
when people like that get away with the
and
shit
that's the
they
thing
do.
is like
I do
that
too.
is something like you're angry about it. You're legitimately angry.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
It's like unjust.
that's the
and-
thing is like
yeah.
this is something worthy of anger, but holding on to it, it's like everybody's saying, like you're only doing that to yourself.
So I'm going to take the I think, the Minority Report perspective here. I agree with everything you guys are saying.
I'm curious to
Minority
hear what
Report.
the
Is that
Is that
Minority
not what
Report
that's
is.
called? The Descent?
movie?
No. Is that what's the Descent?
Keanu?
The
Wait,
future? You've been
who's in
charged
that?
with a future murder?
That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that not what we're talking about?
Sure.
It could be.
I want to allege future crime. Is
This
that
Now
is what
Jim
they-
has my attention.
This is what they call the weave.
Yeah.
This is what I do. I weave.
Yeah, let me show you how this is done.
Before you had my interest, now you have my
all
attention.
of it. No, the dissent, right? The small minority view or whatever that is. So like when the Supreme Court justices disagree. So like I agree with everything y'all are saying. I guess the only part, I think that there's a couple of little pieces that I would probably lean a little bit different on the fork in the road, because the writer does kind of tell us some shitty things about the human, right? And so like, hey, I liked this human. I don't think the writer's saying I felt deceived, though the borderline kind of implies that later on. But I hear the writer saying the human I loved changed. They went through a traumatic event. They had a miscarriage after 2 years of IVF, which is a motherfucker.
Yep.
You know, and like
Yeah, that did stick
my
out to me.
friend, my best friend was broken. And my best friend experienced mental illness. My best friend became suicidal. And in that desperation of suicidal stuff and being an absolute train wreck and being a business partner with me and all these other things, it was like this flail, and the writer doesn't say this, but this was my visual. It's like this flailing person in the ocean, right? Who's like trying to climb aboard your boat and they're flipping you, and it's awful, right? And so like I kind of look at that a little bit from that angle of like how difficult it is when you love somebody and you know they are going through it and then they are abusing you. And that's what I hear in this letter too. Like the writer says, I'm still going through the grieving process. And I appreciate that point, and I think you and your therapist are right to describe this in a form as grieving. I also just think, and this is where I very much agree with you guys, I do think it's just straight up trauma. You know, I think you were just battered. I think you were just abused. And it's like being in an abusive marriage or something, or where you're being financially exploited, Stockholm syndrome shit, you know, being told that like you're the problem and you're not grateful. And I mean, it's got all the workings of like the worst parts of cults and like the worst parts of just exploitative, you know, kind of battered wife syndrome scenarios. That seems to be the story that comes out of this. So when I look at that amount of trauma that the writer went through, this constant abuse and mental and emotional anguish, with a human who was also not a supervillain twiddling their mustache in a cave.
No.
But like a broken, mentally ill person who was going through it, and your love for them like held you hostage to them even while they were abusing you. I guess I just want to shine a light on that because I think that's very relatable. Like I think there's a lot of people in the world who like are abused by their children or abused by a family member or abused by somebody that they love. And like, God, I've seen this so many times in addictions where like people put up with fucking terror, you know,
That's where
and
I
then
thought Nick was going. I was
yeah. And
like,
I'll talk to them about this. I'm
You know,
like,
I
hey,
hadn't even thought of it.
you need to have some boundaries, you know, with your family member. And they'll be like, no, you don't understand what my family member's been through. Like, oh my God, they've been through so much. They're just in so much pain. And there's that old adage, right? Like hurting people hurt people. But that doesn't mean that we have to sit there and suffer it. And I respect you, writer, because even though it took a long time, you eventually drew that boundary and you eventually did something that a lot of humans really, really struggle with, which is to say, this is inappropriate. I will not allow you to batter me anymore. Even if I love you, I'm not going to let you torture me, right? And live in this perpetual jail cell of feeling like I am failing you. I am the cause of your problems. And if only I can convince you that I am loyal, that I am good, that I am worthy of love, that then at least I'll feel like you see that, right? And so like the therapy work that you're doing right now, I think is so important. And if you haven't looked into things like Codependence Anonymous, you know, groups that kind of reflect on this situation where people that, you know, come from maybe sharing those qualities that we might describe as codependent have this sensibility that they get trapped in these bad relationships, and they often can become the victim of abuse because they love hard and they're so desperate to make it right and to satisfy the opinion of the other that they are doing okay, that they are enough, that I do love you enough. And we get into this weird twisted logic that the abuser then has this lordship over us. And yeah, it does become so bad that they are kind of a villain. But I just wanted to reflect on some of those beats, because I do agree. I think that this was fundamentally abusive. I think that what we're seeing is a reaction to trauma even more so perhaps than grief. And I think the anger reaction that we're seeing makes sense. Like if you've been the victim of like relational abuse or sexual abuse, a lot of people will talk about just feeling rage about that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, how dare you do this to me? I'm still so pissed about it. I think about it all the time. I'm carrying this huge chip on my shoulder. My fists are always balled up. To me, that's a trauma reaction.
I had a friend who used to tell me, they're like, I see now why people kill their spouses. Because, you know, I watch like true crime stuff.
Oh, true crime,
and like the people who report on all that, they'll be like, I still will never understand why this person didn't just get a divorce. And I used to be like, what the hell? And then I listen to some of my friends and I'm like, you know, I'm not condoning it, but I see how we get there at some point. I'm like, because
I understand it a little bit better.
Pod Therapy does not endorse murdering your spouse.
I don't, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but have you ever heard him eat cereal?
It's not about the cereal, Nick.
He cuts through gas station parking lots.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I know, but I just mean the rage is there.
Right,
I'm just validating that thought that like your mind can go some really dark places when someone has mainly emotionally, it's not even physically, like that emotional, like you've robbed me of years of my life, financial abuse, like all these things.
Made me think I was a piece of shit.
They're so deep. Yes.
And I poured myself out trying to win you back in your moment of crisis, right? Like I was desperately trying to fish you out of the ocean. I knew you were drowning and you were trying to kill me in this process. And I finally did let you go and I climbed out, but at great personal cost, right?
It's insult on top of injury.
It's so much. It's so much pain. So, Ryder, I love that you're doing that work. I mean, it's tough because there's not a timeline on trauma recovery, right? And so, like, you're doing the right things. In your letter, you say, look, I'm processing this. I've written it down. I've burned it. I'm trying so hard to release this. Yeah. And I just want to resonate that there are so many trauma survivors in the world who relate to your letter. And you know, their circumstances may have been very different, but that sense that they, too, despite doing lots of work on something, cannot release it, that they wish the technology exists to delete memories and just to be done with this forever, to not let this person have it. Yeah, right, to get Men in Black, you know, with that red light. That's what you were showing, right? That's what you were miming, is pointing that red light at Nick's head whenever you're pulling that.
Pointing a gun at Nick's head.
The Men in Black flashy.
Pepper spray.
That's what it was. I think you were getting maced with Men in Black light.
Yeah.
It's very relatable, Ryder, but I guess the encouragement I would give you as my last thought is just leaning into that continued trauma work. It does take a long time. I do believe that over the course of time, it starts to bend in a better direction. I do think that is true. But I agree that like the splinters are in there deep. And sometimes like it just takes a lot to eventually get through it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm glad that you changed your life. Like you did the hard thing. Now I think it's the trauma recovery portion, and that can be a very long road.
It can be. That was the second thing I was going to say earlier, was that just with someone in my own personal life, that was kind of a journey that the person we did clear the air. Like we cleared it up. It should be fine, but you still feel that resentment, and you're like, why do I still feel that? Like they've done the thing, they've said the thing.
I got all the sorries.
I thought that would help, and it didn't, and so it took years.
I try to make kind of mental note of that and try to push that into intellectually anyway, and it's harder emotionally, but intellectually anyway. I try to push that into I'm really good at forgiving people, but I'm not going to forget.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to remember it. It's I got it.
It does change the relationship. It's not going to be.
That's it.
It's not going to be
we
great.
We can move on.
Yeah.
We can move on and be really fucking happy. But like I'm gonna remember it.
Yeah.
It's just part of who I think of you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for me, it took like years, and that did surprise me. So I would say that to the writer, like it took a surprising amount of time to finally release a lot of that.
Right.
And I didn't forget. You're right, Jacob.
Yeah.
But like it took a lot of years to release that. And
the emotional power has become less.
To not let it like fester.
But there wasn't one weird trick. There wasn't a lever
really
that you needed to find, and then once you pushed that button, oh wow, it's gone now. It wasn't that. It wasn't a smoke ceremony, or I did ayahuasca in the fucking desert, or I burned the ceremonial torch. Like it just took the long
That's not
hard
what did
work.
it, but it helped.
Yeah, it just took being drunk did help.
Yeah.
But like the long hard work of just trauma recovery.
You can't do it
sounds
once.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think also for me at least, it was like a kind of a final straw. Like I again, maybe this is a control thing for me. Maybe that's what helps me. That like feeling in control. Like, all right, I'm gonna give this one more shot. I'm gonna set up expectations. I'm going to like feel a little more in control. Which, if you're not in contact with this person, you don't want to be. I absolutely please do not. Does not sound like a great idea. But just finding a way to gain a sense of like control over that. I think because we can't control the other person,
which they
but
did
it took
in
years.
some ways.
Yeah,
by cutting off
Yeah.
that person and
Yeah.
getting their power back. But
That's
I think we
hard.
all are showing respect,
Yeah.
to what you're going through, Ryder. We were honoring it by not pretending that there's one cool trick about letting go of this much resentment after years of physical, emotional, psychological, and financial abuse. All I can tell you is that it is a long road to recovery, but people do recover.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're doing the work. I think you're a good example of somebody who did the hard thing. You drew the boundary, you escaped. And that is the hardest fucking part. We talk to people all the time that are in the midst of this kind of shit, and we're the ones begging them like, hey, we're going to help you, empower you, try to get you out of this. And a lot of times we watch as they just keep reaching back into that fucking water, trying to pull this person out. And it takes time before that finally dawns on them like, I think this is not going to get better. And you escaped. And to me, that's everything. So, and you got back on your feet too, which is tremendous. And now the healing begins, and it persists anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Ryder, for this question. It's a really good one. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about dating a person in early recovery from addictions. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by
Cryo Baby,
Scoop, Mason, Miller, Tess Miller, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanderos, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, and Myra. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy.
That Cryo Babies theme song is deep in my brainstem now.
babies, we're making your dreams come true.
I don't know what that is.
Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies. You
Did
never
you ever
watched
watch
Muppet Babies?
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Maybe.
I
Jim must be on
love
the
that
edge
show.
of that
I
generation.
guess I am, yeah. I
He's
didn't
so
know
much
that
older
that
than
was-
me.
Oh, yeah. A couple of months are really getting me there.
Okay. Here we go, Jacob. You're up.
All right.
Eddie Murphy.
Ooh,
Oh, Jesus.
Huh.
I think it is quite a few.
really?
I mean, so far the numbers
Yeah,
been going
they've
up.
been- they've been high.
They've been going higher and higher.
Look at you, pattern
yeah, I'm
recognition.
noticing the
Okay,
pattern here.
SEO.
He's going
Let's
for
go.
effect.
Let's go 10.
On the nose.
Whoa, for
2
That's 5
points.
points.
Oh,
Or
he
5
gets
points.
5 points. You promised
You're
5.
right.
I know Eddie's Murphy's children.
Yeah.
You do.
Don't worry about it.
That's right. I'm one of them.
I do know one of them. One of his kids used to sit in the sound booth with me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He has a daughter with Mel
So we at
B.
least had one.
And
right.
their daughter used to sit in the sound booth
No
with me during
fucking
rehearsals.
way.
Yeah.
Oh my
She was so sweet and
gosh.
cute. Yeah, she was great. Because I had like a little break room under the booth, so her girls would like hang out in the break room down there playing
my
Xbox and hanging out
gosh.
during
And the
during
kid's
rehearsals.
name was number 10.
That's
so
it.
you were like, I think that's it. I think that's the last one. Wow.
Tax break number 7.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Whitney.
Yeah.
This one's a little challenging, a little tricky. All right. The Hanson brothers collectively.
I think
Now
one
these
of
are
them
not
has
the
4.
these are not the Paul Newman 1970s
Okay.
slapshot movie Hanson brothers.
Thank you.
Oh, Hanson,
These are
the
the-
best
thank
band
you
of
for
all
the
time.
differentiation.
Bop, deep, tap, bop, bop.
I was about to ask, but I'm glad you cleared it up.
Yes, I knew you'd.
Very responsible of you.
One of my friends just posted like last week they went to their concert. I was like,
They're
they're
still
in
performing?
concert.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
yeah, they're killing it.
Are
Yeah,
they killing
they
it?
are. They're
Yeah.
they're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe they are weirdly good at what they do.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So there's 3 Hanson boys, to be clear.
There
Correct.
are.
Okay.
there's
Yes.
3.
So
Okay.
it's
And
the total.
somehow, to collectively, they were all able to have children.
Yeah.
Biologically, I don't know how that works.
The miracle of science.
But
There's a blender
did-
involved.
Yes.
There was a blender. It was margarita sperm.
Oh man,
There's
I'm
a
gonna
blender and a
guess.
turkey basted.
I'm gonna guess. 10.
Wow.
No, sorry, you're not
Nah.
within
Not
the
within
window.
up or
Ooh.
down. Let me go low.
Okay, no.
Oh,
I was gonna say one of them that has
I don't know,
at
I
least
thought that was
4.
gonna be the
I
twist.
thought that was
I
the
thought the
easy.
twist
Yeah.
was going to be it's
Definitely
3
high.
people and it's
No.
0.
No, I know
It's
one has
something.
at least 4, but I don't
It's
know.
16.
Yeah,
total.
thank you.
Between the 3 of them.
I'll
16.
collect
Okay.
my Hanson point.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Okay, Jim.
Yes.
Nick Cannon.
God damn it. Shit. I knew he was going to be in there, dude.
Yeah. You know,
I want to say.
I think I just know this one.
I thought I did, but now I'm doubting it. 'Cause some of these numbers are insane.
I'll take 20.
Okay, no.
Lower.
Correct.
I believe It's 12.
Goes to the
I was
rebound.
gonna guess 11.
Wow.
Okay, I was gonna guess 11.
He was on Howard Stern a couple
Give him
weeks,
the
or a couple of
game.
weeks or months ago, and they talked about the kids.
Jacob knows celebrity children.
I do.
He's delivered many of them.
I do.
He's been around a lot of celebrity
Let's just
children.
say he hung out at a lot of P. Diddy parties, and he was there when they were
I was
conceived.
gonna say a lot of children under his desk. He said.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Christ. Let's do another round real quick. Real quick.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob.
Jacob's
All right.
dunking on us, though.
Clint Eastwood.
Oh.
Fuck. He has a lot.
6.
No, not
Okay.
within
Higher.
the window.
Ooh, okay, what are you going?
Higher.
You're going to go higher, 1.8.
Whoa.
I was
Okay, I thought
close.
more than that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, goes to Whitney.
Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
Rod Stewart.
15. I don't know.
On
No.
the nose.
That would be hilarious.
Okay, I'm going to go lower.
It is lower.
Yes.
How many?
Also 8.
Oh,
The
okay.
Ocho.
Rod
Very
Stewart, the
famous number
Ocho.
here.
Jim.
Yes.
Christopher Walken.
Oh, shit.
Does he have a lot of girls?
I'm going to go with a sensible 5.
No.
Less.
Yes.
I was gonna say like 4.
Ooh.
What is it?
Do you know?
No. I'm just playing the game. I figured there would be a twist there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
got to be
Yeah.
a twist.
There is a twist. He has
None.
no
None.
children.
Oh.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken, no
Oh,
kids.
I was like, does
That's why he's
There
so
you go.
rich.
Oh.
It all makes sense.
he can still work?
Okay.
Does all kinds of
I was like, it's the end of the game. Nick's going to throw in a twist. This
He's
one's
like,
going to
let's
be
do it.
super
Let's
low.
do it.
I've got 3 more, but
All
we'll do
right.
them in the
Yeah.
next one.
All right.
Dating a person in early recovery. Hey, all, I've recently met someone. Let's call her Baguette. And we've had a
She's
couple
French.
of great,
Croissant.
yeah, we've had a couple of starter dates. She has a substance use disorder and is in recovery, working her 12-step program, is a sponsor to another person in her program, and generally seems to be in a great place in herself. However, I am a total outsider to sober community, if that's even
I
the
am
right
drunk
term.
right now.
As I write this.
Sucks to be you.
If that's even the right term. I've searched the interwebs and found resources for people who have a history with an addict, but nothing for someone entering a sober person's life post-recovery. I know that talking to Baguette is the best way to get her specific answers, but if things continue to go well, I'll eventually meet others within Baguette's social circle, and I don't currently have the tools in my belt to keep from making an ass of myself, and I'm pretty good at doing that without trying to anyway. For what it's worth, I could be totally happy living a sober lifestyle along the right person. But I know my choice to be sober is in no way equivalent to sober for someone with a substance use disorder. I am, of course, talking with my therapist about this, but she doesn't have an addictions background. So I'm still looking for more advice. Good, sarcastic, or otherwise. I know who I'm asking.
Good call.
Nice. A maybe drier but not stale crusty croissant. Nice.
Croissant.
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 God, I hate that word.
But they're so delicious.
No.
So
They
entering
are.
a relationship
Oh, so
after
good.
the person's
Buttery croissant.
already been in recovery, like you met them,
Yes,
they're in
sounds like
recovery.
it.
still.
It sounds like they're pretty well established too, because they're sponsoring somebody
Yeah.
else.
Well, yes, I would hope so.
yeah. What does it mean?
We all know that that's not the case.
But the
I mean,
writer, I'm assuming that they are in a fairly good space because the writer is saying like, oh, they are someone else's sponsor. Like they're clearly trying to communicate that at least the writer feels like this
Yes,
person's in a
they're
good space.
established.
yeah, what I'm saying is,
No, yes.
yeah,
Seen it
we've
all.
seen
Yeah.
people, but
You've
like,
seen people put in positions that they shouldn't
I've got a
have been put in.
sponsee, and like,
Yeah.
dude, you were drinking 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
You graduated from rehab. The ink is
Yeah.
wet on the
Shit.
certificate.
Yeah.
But for general knowledge, though, people usually will not sponsor until they've completed the 12 steps. The 12 steps are something that do not have a precise timeline. But usually in the 12-step community, they're usually not talking about sponsorship until you've got about a year.
Okay.
Yeah. You might be a co-sponsee with a sponsor, like you might help out your brother or sister kind of person at your peer level. But usually they're not encouraging you to sponsor other people, and other people shouldn't really be asking you to sponsor them until you've got at least a year. And usually you're not sponsoring for a little while after that too. So based on just what the writer's telling us, the plain reading,
We'll assume
probably this
A
person's
little bit of the
established.
benefit of the
Yeah,
doubt.
we'll assume not in early.
Yeah.
Oh, says in early recovery.
Does it say
Yeah,
that?
the title: dating a person in early recovery.
But what does
Oh,
early
I
mean?
wrote that. That's not their title. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I glanced
All right.
at it and thought that was the thesis.
All
of
right.
the
Sorry,
thing.
writer. Jim's
Yeah.
an idiot.
Yeah. It's a new relationship. There we go.
I read the email by myself.
Sometimes I just glance at them and try to figure out the title. and I make it up.
Fair enough. That's more than what I do.
Thanks, buddy.
So you're still ahead.
That's all the time we got for this week's episode.
All right, here's the thing. Yes, I think you're spot on correct in that, like, your partner will guide you in this, and will kind of help set those parameters. But since you wrote in anyway, let's give you some feedback and some things that I think, because you brought up a really good point. Like, okay, you're kind of, as far as working with her, going to take her lead on this and everything, but you will eventually meet her group.
Her community.
And it is an interesting community to kind of really be a part of. And I say this like, I'm not talking about like people who are currently in their addictive lifestyle and not people who are new in recovery, but I mean people who are well established in their recovery.
They've got time.
They're the most fascinating people you will ever meet. People, I worked with so many people that had, 15, 20, 25 years in the program and have not touched anything in that amount of time. And just a wealth of knowledge. Just and just perspective, the way that they look at things, the way that they assess situations, and it's risk, all about avoiding high risk situations and putting a lot of thought into things that the average person doesn't have to think about.
Being very introspective. It's like talking to somebody who's been through a shitload of therapy, and she probably has, and like, I think you'll notice little things like they tend to be very comfortable getting group feedback on whatever they're feeling or whatever their decisions are. Like, I doubt very much that this person started dating you and their recovery group never heard about it. Their home group knows all about you, dude. And the sponsor knows all about you. And people assessed whether this was a good thing. And probably this girl sought advice, and like got feedback from people. That's one thing I think that's unique to people coming out of that community. Cool. Another one I think is being very like comfortable because of the program and the way the program teaches people to like notice what they're feeling and identify it and like talk it out, like tell somebody, hey, I have a resentment towards you right now. I remember the first time a person that we had worked with, long-term person in recovery, and they came up to me and they said, I need to talk to you about something. I have a resentment towards you. And I remember thinking to myself,
what the fuck's a resentment?
Yeah. Exactly.
Did you spell that?
Yeah. Use it in a sentence. Yeah. Another sentence besides the one you just used. I remember thinking to myself, on one hand, I thought, like, the therapist in me thought, gosh, that is so advanced. Like, that is just, you are so enlightened. I am literally a therapist. I don't have that lexicon. I don't have that grasp or that comfort level that I've done this enough in my life that I could walk up to somebody as a fucking mature adult and say, can I talk to you about something? I'm finding that I have a resentment with you and I like you and I don't want to resent you. Can we talk about that? I just remember thinking, wow. On one hand, I thought, wow. On the other hand, I thought, I'm your fucking boss. I don't give a shit what your resentments are. And I don't need to hear them. Oh, hold on. I got to check the door here. I don't know why I put this goddamn doorbell on this little pantry underneath the...
Get a ring.
Hello?
Could I go to the
No,
bathroom?
God damn it! You get the fuck back in that place!
Man, she's annoying.
No, give me that spray bottle, Whitney. Hand me that. Hand me that.
Here.
In her fucking eyes! Hey! Oh shit, that's a bleach, Whitney! That's the bleach! Jesus Christ! This is a war crime! This is not okay! Oh, she's melting! Oh my God, she melted.
How else are they supposed to get out of here?
Turns out she was a witch the whole time.
But yeah, the recovery community has a lot of maturity in it. And so like
so about maturity.
Yeah. But no, that's another thing though. It's like sometimes they'll say, hey, look, and I need to talk to you about something. And you're just like, wow. But also, and this is not a dig on the community, but we're talking about humans who have struggled with the way emotion can control their lives, right? And being impulsive and being spontaneous. And with a lot of recovery, those things may have died away. But sometimes I've noticed with my patients in long-term recovery, when they start getting into those big relationships, especially if it's the first big relationship in recovery, the emotions really test some of those self-moderation skills because they're feeling big stuff. And sometimes they're really offended or they're really hurt. And it's not that they want to drink or like use, but just like it can sometimes come out big and the energy can be big. And I think like the normie in their life is like, what the fuck is going on? Whereas somebody else in the program would recognize that behavior and be like, okay, I know how to put a lid on this, or like, why don't we both go talk to our sponsors? Like, let's breathe. Let's come back to this. So, I mean, that's another little tip that, again, not to stereotype an entire community of people, but they're in recovery for a reason, and one of them was emotional difficulty.
I think one of the other things that they're a skill set that a lot of people in long-term recovery have that most average people don't have, and also most people in early recovery don't have, is the ability to identify small things and understand how it affects them.
Yeah.
Like the ability to identify small changes in patterns of their own behavior.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed, I was 5 minutes late for work this morning. I was, 3 minutes late for work yesterday. I was 2 minutes late for work. Yes, something's wrong. I need to get back into my patterns.
Yes.
The average person, I think, is just looking at that and just kind of like, oh, whatever. I was just a little late. But somebody with long-term recovery who has created a pattern of behavior that supports their recovery, they notice shit like that. Because
I love that.
That's how they've been able to get 15, 20, 25 years.
Yes.
So, that's just another little thing that you're probably going to notice.
Well, and you gotta respect that kind of person, because if they have some time that did not happen by accident, and if they got into the community and this person's sponsoring other people, you need to respect this up there with like, it's a religion to them, but even bigger than that. 'Cause sometimes I feel like that's dismissive of the whole thing. It's medicine. Yeah. This is their insulin and they have a fucking disease. And like, you need to respect that when they're like, anything I put before my recovery, I will lose. That includes this relationship. And that can be hard for people. Because, whenever you date somebody and like you meet somebody with sustained recovery, these are some of the most awesome human beings you'll ever meet.
It is. In a relationship, it's wonderful to hear the other person say, you're the most important thing in my life.
Yeah.
But when you're dating somebody,
hear that here.
When you're dating somebody in long-term recovery, you're not going to hear that. You're not. You're going to hear my sobriety, my recovery is the most important thing in my life.
Yeah. They won't write that in your birthday card.
Yeah.
but they will live it, and you will notice that, writer. And it can be very easy to be like, gosh, sometimes I feel like I ask you if you want to go out on Friday night and you tell me you've got a commitment, and you've got a meeting you've got to go to, or you've got a sponsor you've got to meet with. And that's another thing I think we're not always used to in dating relationships, is discovering how close and how intimate your partner is with a lot of other people. It's usually same gender, but like they're going to have deep roots with people in their life. And sometimes you're going to hear about that and think, I think you're a little enmeshed with these people. And I think you need to have some boundaries, and you have to understand that like recovery is a team sport. Like they're swimming together. They're all linked in arms and kicking like hell to stay above the water. I need them and they need me. And anything we put in front of our recovery, we'll lose. And so that means you've got to like show respect for that. And you're allowed to still have needs, and you're allowed to still communicate to this partner in recovery like, hey, sometimes I do feel a little backburnered. I feel a little unimportant. I feel a little neglected. Can you think on that for me? And just make sure that you're checking in on yourself and how much room you're able to make for me, and just where that fits inside of all this. Because I'll go with you to the meetings if that's okay. Which also, we should probably talk a little bit about etiquette, like the etiquette of dating somebody, because there's the obvious stuff. Like you're with somebody who has a gluten allergy. Like maybe don't always fucking recommend places they can't go. Like be sensitive.
These donuts are so good.
Yeah, no, you should have one. Oh, never mind. You can't.
Best Red Bulls in town.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some obvious etiquette of
Speaking from a little experience.
Yeah. I mean, hypothetically. Like you obviously don't want to say things like, oh, we should go to this pub, or like, I want to try this place, or like there's some obvious stuff. New Year's Eve, not buying champagne for you and apple juice for them. Like just give it up. Like just don't have it in the house. Purge it from your home. If you're a person like keep some nice liquor somewhere, like, okay, just put that in storage. Like you just don't need it for a while.
Yeah.
There's some basic etiquette, but I think there's also some etiquette when it comes to like understanding the culture of like this person's life, and just, I don't know, just like showing some respect and deference for their program, for their ways of thinking, and checking in with their level of comfort too, I think is a big thing as well.
A friend of mine and I were out a couple weeks ago, and he is in recovery. He's in recovery for alcohol. And we were at an event, and we were sitting directly across from, our places were directly across from each other, splitting a small table between us. And we were both like sitting at the table for this event. And, the waitress came around and said, you want a cocktail? Do you want anything? And while she was taking the other orders, I just kind of leaned over to my friend. I was like, hey, I've never done this before, but because it's going to be under your nose. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to be sitting on the table just directly under your face. Because, there's like a foot between us and it's just one of those small little tables. It's not like a big dining table or anything. So it's going to be right under your nose. Is that going to bother you? And he, of course, was like, absolutely not. It's been so many years, whatever it is. Don't worry about it. But I mean,
sure,
it doesn't matter.
Good
just,
etiquette.
Just fucking ask.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
I probably made a bigger thing out of that than it needed to be because I didn't know how to ask the question.
Yeah.
And if you were
It is
also,
an important question to ask,
it's
though.
fair.
Like
And I was like, I don't have to have a drink right now.
Yeah.
And if it's going to bother you sitting under your nose because this is a bit intrusive, this is a weird one. So what do you think?
Well, if you were also going to make out with that person that night, like you could end up being intimate with them.
Sure.
Carry that in mind. And like this is another thing
because
too.
I want to be able to give consent.
Yes.
Legally.
Right. That's important. But,
Is that not what you meant?
you know what? I do want to mean that. I do want that to be part of what I mean. I'm going to include that. I'm going to adopt that message. But, Ryder, another thing you should think of is I know that we make it sound like everybody's this shaky little branch and at any moment they could just plunge and spiral their lives. Long-term recovery actually starts to bend the other direction where they find it repulsive. This hurt them. This traumatized them. They don't like it. And so a lot of people in long-term recovery, they don't like it the way people that don't smoke don't want to date a smoker. Right. And so whenever you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to order something and I'm not going to bother you with it, it may be a turnoff. And so that's something to think about, too, is, going back to this etiquette, it might not offend them, but they may be less attracted to you if you're going to keep fiddling with this stuff. And, you said in the letter, hey, look, I don't care at all. Like, I'll be sober. But I also appreciated your note here, Ryder, where you said, I also want to show respect because me choosing to be sober is not the same as what they had to go through to choose to be sober.
Yeah.
That is when Nick tells me he knows what it's like to be a dad because he has 2 dogs. Like, don't do that.
He says that all the time, though.
Well, you say it too, and you don't even have dogs.
I know. I just have a cat. That's the same thing.
That is
I know what it's
different,
like to be a
though.
dad because Nick has 2 dogs.
Yeah.
That is
all
different,
do.
though.
These are very
We hear
different.
Nick
My
talk
dogs
about
are
it all
very
the time.
needy.
They are very needy dogs.
They kind of are, and they're loud.
They are.
That's right. It's a
Just
solid
like
argument.
children.
Yeah.
And they poop a lot.
And I do have a college fund set aside.
Oh, okay, good.
So
good.
it's like
That is
I get the
responsible.
financial
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
it. So
I mean, for
and they're
real,
insured.
dogs nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have
Not
them insured
wrong.
under your health, and that's very important. And they're in your will and trust, I'm sure as well.
I'm teaching my beagle how to drive.
Oh,
currently, so
that's
it's-
exciting.
She's 16.
Oh my God, is she already? Wow, the milestones.
But it is, there is kind of an easy path to answer that question, though, too. And that is, you know that you're not giving up.
Yeah.
Like, you know that.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You know how much or how little you are giving up by saying that you won't drink. And you know that you are doing that as part of her recovery and not something that you necessarily need to do for your own life.
Yeah. Also, quick.
You're just aware of it.
There's a gajillion pieces of etiquette to this, so definitely keep learning from the community. And I would recommend going on subreddits and just learning from the community, listening to the way they talk about things. Don't out her. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will think that's the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
So you're bringing your new girlfriend to hang out with your boys.
Hey,
and
you want a drink?
Yeah. And
She's in
guys,
recovery,
don't
everybody.
do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
in recovery.
Oh,
It's
we aren't supposed to
don't do that. Don't do. You might be thinking, oh, that's a courtesy. I'm getting ahead of this. That's extra loving and polite of me.
No thanks is fine.
Sometimes people are just that's my truth, man.
I'll
That's
stop
one of the
doing
most
that for my
intimate details of my life.
Yeah.
I've chosen to tell you that, but
she's
don't
supposed
put
to
it
be
out there.
wearing an armband.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hospital band.
That's what I mean.
That's how you know. Yeah, but there's a gajillion little pieces of etiquette that go with this. I love that you're taking a curious posture. And just showing a lot of respect for the journey. It is one of the harder things a human being can do. And the fact that she's been able to get into long-term recovery, that, as Nick said, means that she has a program, that she is working to this day. She has not taken her foot off the gas.
She's got a routine.
You've got to respect that. It's the same as dating somebody who has a chronic illness who says, hey, look, like it or not, I have to measure my blood sugar this many times a day. It will affect when I go to bed. It will affect what I'm available for. If that doesn't work for you.
But you said you were an alcoholic.
Right. Yeah, but it's important. I still have to measure all these things. I could be excellent at this. So anyway, Ryder, a lot of respect brought to the game I think is huge. And just familiarizing yourself with some of the culture, if you could go on an AI bot and ask give you a list of, 50 words or phrases that are commonly used in 12-step recovery groups, I think that would be a great area to think, even just learning what the steps are and what those actually are. Because reading them doesn't do a good job of telling you what the hell that's all about. Like taking the Fearless Moral Inventory, it sounds like, all right, you make a list. And it's like, oh no, this is extremely depth work.
I feel like you can go a little too far with that sometimes too.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
In the sense that if I was in her position, I wouldn't want, my person who I'm dating to be like, oh, well, I read this article on it, so I get what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I understand. It's like, it's fine. Let's slow your roll here. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll help kind of guide us in this area.
That. Yeah. Doing a little basic background research, but using that more as field work.
Just be there to learn, and, I agree with you, Jim, though. I wouldn't have it at home. If you don't feel the need to drink, I wouldn't drink. It's just not, and you're going to have to kind of make a decision. This is the relationship this is the relationship you want, every relationship comes with sacrifices, and if this is one of those things, not to say that, you can't, if you go out golfing with your buddies on Saturday, you can't have a beer.
Yeah.
Just come home and just be respectful.
Yeah, you don't have to be sober, but you might not want to keep it in the house.
Yeah.
And
also though, there's this argument that, and I think this is a good question for the writer to ask themselves is, do I want to go ahead and just choose to be sober for a while I'm in this relationship? Because I think if we put a lot of energy on this, we could be like, well, here's how I'm going to show respect. Here are my special rules, and here's when I will, and here's when I won't. And if I do, I will not see her for 24 hours. And it's at some point it starts to become this thing where it's like, hey, ask yourself if you just would like to just try matching lifestyles for a while and see how that goes.
So how am I supposed to numb my feelings if I can't drink the beer?
Push it
way down.
How am I supposed to be better at golf if I don't have the beer?
That's okay. So this is actually really funny.
Smash a par 4.
There's this. I was talking with one of the guys that I golf with, and there was this video that kind of went viral many years ago, and it was about Phil Mickelson. And so he was doing an interview, and somebody asked him, questions. And he's very scientific about the game of golf. Mm-hmm. And, they were asking a question like, okay, you got this many yards into a, par 3, what club are you going to hit or whatever? He's like, well, what's the temperature?
Yeah. What time is it?
What's the dew point? Because he's like,
what continent am I on?
He's like, you got to know, well, is it wet out?
Toilets flush backwards
because moisture gets between the ball and the club face, so it's going to take spin off of it. You have to understand the humidity. You have to understand, which way the sun is going, so you know which way the grass is bending, and all of this stuff. He was just that's just the way his mind. He goes into all of this to calculate a single shot.
Jeez.
And I was talking to my buddy, and I'm like, that's funny because I do the exact same thing except how to manage my buzz. Because if I
gonna bring up John Daly,
I can have too much beer and then I'm a shitty golfer.
Yeah.
And I can have no beer and be a shitty golfer.
You might just be a shitty golfer, Nick.
No.
Okay, no. There's a razor's edge,
which I'm fucking amazing.
I'm telling you, buddy, I'm really good.
But it's the same. It's the same.
A third beer's in.
Well, no, it's not that simple. It's the same science. I got to know
what kind of beer is it.
1.5 for breakfast.
What's the temperature
how
outside?
Hot is it?
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that goes into this.
Yeah.
Nick's documenting everything.
What's the alcohol percentage?
How much water was it?
Valid.
Yeah, that's right. Was this a mixed drink? Is there ice in it? That's going to factor in. Sitting there with a breathalyzer on every fucking tee. Anyway, Ryder, great question. Glad
I can't
for the
go to this par
opportunity.
3 and need a cup of coffee.
We're taking a break.
Give me a minute. Give me 5.
0.56.
When we come back, we are saying thank you to all of our patrons. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Myler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, and Myra. And if you want to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. Jacob, how many kids does Mick Jagger have?
Oh, Mick who?
Mick Jagger.
That's not what he said. You guys know it.
Mick Jagger.
He said Mick Jagger.
That's what I say.
Don't you gaslight me, you sons of bitches!
Wow, gaslighting. Way to accuse us.
Moves like Jagger.
Let's see, how many kids does Mick Jagger have?
No, it's Mickey Jagger.
4.
No.
I'm gonna guess 10.
So higher.
Oh, higher. Sorry, higher. I forgot what we were
gotcha.
doing.
I
here.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Higher.
8.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Whitney.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin.
Oh
Alec
shit.
Baldwin.
Oh my god. Him and Hilaria.
What?
That's his wife's name.
Okay.
I think
It's
they
at least
just
6.
had another one.
It's at least
Good
6,
Lord.
7.
Well, he's Irish, so it's
That's
probably
within the
double
range. It's 8.
Oh,
so you
wow.
get a point
Oh.
there.
Okay.
A lot of
Good job.
Ochos.
Damn,
man.
it's 8?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I gave him the
points.
extra with the 7. I thought it was 6. Damn.
Jim.
For the win.
Kevin
What?
Bacon.
For the what?
Okay. These are his children, not children he's stolen.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Those number in the thousands.
Yeah. He's everywhere.
Ever since Tremors.
Go ahead and give me 6. I'll take 6.
No.
Yet. Take
Higher.
No.
Oh.
This is another tricky one.
I almost went lower.
Only 2.
Only 2. All right.
Only
a
2
sensible
kids.
number of children,
Sensible.
Mr. Bacon.
Just replacements. That's all you,
You only
need.
say
That's
that
all
'cause you have
yeah,
to.
replace the population. Well, we want to thank
But
all of
most
you.
children have ties to Kevin Bacon.
That's all of
Oh,
them.
yeah,
There's
6
degrees.
degrees,
You'll
yeah.
always get back to Kevin. Thank you to those who have been signing up at patreon.com/therapy. We know that Mental Health Awareness Month is over, but guess what? We keep doing the show anyway. And so you should
just not doing as well.
sponsor the show and help power it, make it possible, because we are super grateful. And so we've got some new friends that have joined the Thera party. Who's new to the bunch there, Nick?
We got a new therapal, Cynthia.
Woohoo!
Welcome to the show, Cynthia.
Welcome.
We got 2 new theropods. We got the whittle shitty titty kitty. Thank you for that. and Gavin Hart. Nice.
Like Kevin. Kevin Hart, but
Gavin Hart. Welcome to the party to our new theropods. And we got 3 new pterodactyls.
Tonight.
We got
Okay.
There you go.
Wow.
Thank
simple.
you.
Keep it simple. Different from the shitty whittle.
We
kitty.
have new pterodactyl, a crusty croissant.
Oh,
Welcome.
welcome back.
And Casey Minter.
I'm gonna die. That's my roommate from college.
Is it
I
really?
literally
That's
forgot.
so
Hey, Casey, hey, girl.
cool.
Love you.
Hey, girl.
Wow.
You shouldn't have told us that.
She's the
Because
best.
now we know
She's
that.
the best. We have the same middle
Hold on,
name.
I gotta send an email.
We were
Yeah.
roommates all
We
4
have contact
years.
information.
We from freshman year randomly being placed together. We lasted
Wow.
all 4 years. She's
Wow.
my
So,
sole
Nick,
roommate.
Can
Okay.
we make a special
Finally, like
exception?
2 years into the show, she finally brings on a.
Can we do
I'm
get
bringing
to
my
know
part.
a pterodactyl? I think you should do a get to know a pterodactyl.
Oh my
segment.
god!
Well,
Only
I'm
one.
talking about get to know a Thera host.
Ooh, I remember this idea. The
Yeah,
intern had
so
it. Okay.
as soon as I get as soon as I
bad
get back
idea.
from my vacation, I'm going to do that.
All right. We've got a bunch of theropods
Who are the
who
therahosts?
support us. You.
I was like, who is that?
You
I
are
was
in
like, is
this.
this a new level?
That's
We don't
you.
have that level yet.
That's you, buddy.
We like to thank all of our theropods every
Jacob
month
said
and
what I was
pterodactyls, and of course, their producers and partners are every episode. But our theropods who power the show, we sure do appreciate you. People like the Dark Lord himself, Jim Sfasha, University Jeff, Robert Paulson, Linda Brandmeier, Scoopsternaut, Joseph Pengrazio, Corey Owens, Christine Phillips, Gavin Bristow, Carrie Terhark, Kiwi Fruit Scoop. Take it, eat. Wait a minute. Didn't Gavin Bristow isn't that somebody else?
Keep it moving.
I don't know.
Yep. All right. Never mind. Carrie Terhart, Kiwi Fruit Scoop, Take It EV Podcast, James K., Craig Little, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Scoopa Tron, Todd Canfield, Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Shayla Bullock, Lauren Izzo, Katie Chiwakowski, Adam Petanuzzo, Mats Lenegren, Scoopiter Ascending, Lee Popsicle, Ian Soto, that Josh guy, Mama Ninja Scoop, James Dawson, Sarah Olo, Grumpy, Lake Mead Park Ranger, Sam Buck, Karen McCulloch, What Weekend, Lila, Be Gay, Do Crimes, Kelly Gagner, Nippy, Brian Emra, Matthew Johnson, Alec Lancaster. Congratulations, Alec! Alec got hitched. Yay!
Oh,
It's all over our Discord. Yep. So
Hey.
beautiful wedding photos all over the Discord.
Oh,
We're
I gotta go
super
look.
excited
Okay.
for you, buddy. That's
Our
terrific.
invitation must have gotten lost in the
I
mail.
think it's out there somewhere.
That's too
yeah.
bad.
Guess he didn't want a
Get that.
gift.
Yeah. JD Congan, Julius Capel, Stacy, A Literal Pickle, Matthias Vandebrandt, Max the Ginger Scoop, Ken Tinsley, Protect and Scoop, Smells Funny, Matthew Cubic, Duffy, the Slowly Getting Their Therapist Bear, Chad the Safety Lad, Joel McMillan, Walker Fluke, nailed it, Kierkegaard, Philip Guyton, Tim Mystery, Almost Dr. Nurse Joey, Chris Conway, Melissa L. Geisler, Christopher DeGursey, Trisha Ortiz, Kirsten Johnson, Freya Lawson, DJ Seward, Mississippi Hippie, Liz, Scott A., Patty Glad, Fifi, Anthony Camerata, Heather W., Kyle. This fucking name is written in wingdings. I can't possibly pronounce that. David Williams, Kate Police, Trontastic, Buddy Dobbins, Eric Dyer, Kernapiller, Glitch Scoop, Nathan Mookie, Bug Nuts, Steven Landon, Aletta Belaze, Kenneth Wong, John Finlayson, Mysterious Annalid, Adam Balaz, K. Pizzle Dizzle, Robert Cole, Persephone Hazard, KJ, Karen, Carmen, Perry, nailed it, Mr. Pothson, Citium, Temporary Reality, Jeff Darnell, Jameeby, Jacob Hurt, Ray J. Shark, Silka Daniels, Recreated, What Does Scoop Mean? Jenny Rose, Jacob Billingsley, Alex Jardine, Dylan Colonoscopy, nailed it. Wolfie05, Chris Courtney, Dale the King, Cedar Hayden, Nora Monaco, Riley, Adam Goff, Jesse Miller, Livy, Kevin Tribe, Linus Hakkasan, Terrible Tay, Acrylic Curve, Grace, Itty Bitty Chicken Farmer, Yegan Keeley, Sam, K. Matthews, Chill Food, John Cavaradas, Zachary W., Fish Bum Fish, J.W. Reynolds, Michael F., Cloudy Pies, Foxy Sally, Ty Evans, Neck Pubes, Matthew Connor, John S., Winter Scoop, Andre Zukusus, the Whittle Shitty Titty Kitty, and Fun Crapper.
And our Pterodactyls, Ice Blue Scoop, Brian Lehman, Andrea Anderson, Lori Elsroth, Cy Shanagon, Scoopy Jess, Okie Scoop, Dank Butta, Brooks Lyle, Adam Ribchick, Lovely Spark, Mr. V, Jim and Manu, The Offices of Counselor and Counselor, Manuel Cavazos, A Crusty Croissant, Chad Mag, RT, BB Hermit, Mommy, Damate, I.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
gonna. I
That's
gotta
gonna throw
move
us.
that one.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
it's gonna
put it at
fuck
the
us up
beginning.
every time.
You got to move I to a different spot.
If you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
Probably because we didn't thank the Therapartners yet. We'd like to thank the benevolent,
Oh, yeah.
revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy
The fragrant.
diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts, our Therapartners, Dirty B and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr., Mint, Smitty Scoop, fuck Richard Macy.
Fuck Richard Macy. I like that
Schneider,
better.
Malia, Leon Kassab, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Dan Martin, Sammy Scoop, Slurpy Kai, motherfucker, Ben Stanley, Slapping Your Face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Oscar Swanrose, Paris, A Sunny Boy, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Sandra McWaffle, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Hey Yo, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma and Tonka, and the new one, Pony Soprano. Alina, Cody DeLorean Guy, Brady Malachik, Chick Fellatio, Gabriel Adame, and Sean Sutherland.
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords at Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world and tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, /PodTherapy on Facebook and Blue Sky. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? You can ask anonymously at podtherapy.net, email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com, or click the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
George Bush hates black horses.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment
Jim's
next
changing
week.
his name. So that,
Legally. Yes.
I like it better than Colonel.
Fair.
She's jealous. That's what that is. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.